So I think that's the biggest thing that like I would watch for and monitor. Like at a younger age, I would recommend that like kids are not in their rooms by themselves watching like any like YouTube or anything like that, or somewhere where they have access to like Google or any like search engine where they can just stumble onto things, because there's so much that's targeted towards young kids. I mean, between pornography and like violent video games, like they are targeting younger and younger. I know Eric's message the other day, he mentioned 8 years old is like the new age where kids have been at least exposed to pornography. And we as parents need to try to limit that, try to limit that exposure, but then also be prepared to talk about that exposure, because unfortunately that's the reality we live in. So yeah, there's a lot out there.
Yeah. And what, maybe you can dive into, I don't think I have to convince anyone that, early exposure really to those things is not a harmful thing.
Sure.
But maybe could you share maybe some of the effects that those types of things, can have?
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I'll start with pornography, because I think, I don't know, as a parent, like I think that's the scarier one for sure, and definitely the scarier sounding one. And I think the concerns with pornography use, obviously early exposure can have an impact on a kiddo's brain. It can be traumatic. And if it's not like dealt with right away or addressed openly, then it definitely could be kind of like buried and then cause some mental health effects down the road, which could be negative and just kind of snowball into some bigger things. So that's why I say it's important that we're open to talk about it and not just get mad. Like, I understand you're going to get mad or scared, whatever your response is. Like, that's totally understandable. Like, it's terrifying. But we need to be able to respond in a way with like just that unconditional parental love that God talks about, and just kind of hear what's going on and try to address it. And then, work with your kid to process it. I'd say for any sort of trauma, those younger kids, they're just going to repeat a lot of the stuff over and over. And we need to let that happen. Because I see a lot of parents try to be like, we got to stop talking about it because they're obsessing over it, which it can seem like that. But that's how their brains process and like understand the trauma. So they need to just keep repeating it until their brain is like, okay, like that wasn't okay, but we're going to move on. So I think in that sense of like, if a younger kid's been exposed to pornography, like just let them talk about it over and over with you in a safe place. And if they need counseling, those steps are next.
Are there, real quick, are there any specific questions that you would ask your kid when that came up, like to help them process through it and talk through it and kind of, like you said, like even giving them the space to like repeat some of the things over and over again. And I love what you're saying about like, don't bury it and hide it and almost pretend it didn't happen or punish in a specific way and then just move on, but really give them the opportunity to process through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As far as specific questions, I would say I wouldn't do any like super leading questions, like that might give them more information than they've been exposed to. Like if you're hearing them say something that they saw some content online, but you don't know what it was, I wouldn't give them like specific leading questions to like kind of fill gaps in their mind, because then they might start repeating what you're saying. And that'll just escalate both of your fears, both the kid and the parent, as to what they've been exposed to. But I would just keep any questions super like open-ended and just be like, tell me about what happened. And then when they do, you just, show them lots of love and support. I would just kind of go with like a repeated phrase to respond to their like repeated story of like, yeah, that wasn't okay. Here's what we're going to do about it for the future. If it ever happens again, this is what we're going to do. And just kind of go with like, yeah, responding to what happened in the past, what we're doing now in the present, and then what we'll do in the future to try to avoid that. And if it ever happens again, because bad things happen, we can't avoid them, like what we're going to do in the future to try to just, kind of mend that brokenness in them.
Yeah. Now, does that change depending on the age? I mean, sure it does, right? But I'm sure if there's like an older exposure, like there's probably like a different tactics for different ages, or is it kind of a similar tactic but just like a different application?
Yeah, I think yes to both of those questions. I'd say it changes a lot, of course. As they get older, you're going through puberty and a lot of brain changes when you hit like that 12 to 13-year-old age and on. Obviously, exposure to like sexual pornography content is going to impact them differently because it's going to feel more real. It's going to feel like applicable to their lives and what they're going through rather than something more distant and like scary, I guess. So the teens, I would respond probably differently to them. They might still repeat the story, but it's going to be very different. It also might be a thing where they're not going to talk to their parents about it. It's super hit or miss depending on your kiddo. But some teens are just kind of in that phase where they need a different trusted adult. If you have like a trusted family member, mentor, someone from the church, those can all be good people, a counselor, depending on what the exposure is. I mean, if it's like spilling over into like addiction territory, I definitely recommend a counselor